I am 22 years old, and I am a psychology student at Acadia University and a part-time waitress. For the past 6 months, I decided to take a little break off school to take care of my own mental health, which is something that I'm slowly learning is very important to do, especially if we like to help and give to others. I like to spend time outdoors, I like to paint, I like to relax, and spend time with my friends. I also live with depression and anxiety, 2 illnesses that define me and were a very real threat to my life for many years. It is only as I got older that I realized I had the power to define myself, and that I was so much more than whatever illnesses I may have symptoms of. When I was 14 years old, co-president Stephanie suspected that I may not be okay. My suicidal ideations at the time were at an all-time high. She decided to reach out to both me and my family. Her intervention ultimately saved my life, and is a part of the reason of why today I can call myself a survivor of suicide. Let's fast forward to university. I moved somewhere new. I started making new friends. I was determined to do well and to keep my mental health to myself. I had been conditioned to think that I had a dark side that nobody would fully understand. What I didn't realize until hearing of a friend's attempted suicide was that so many people were going through the same things, and so many people were doing so in silence. And this silence was what making us feel so alone and so isolated. I couldn't help but wonder if I had reached out to this individual, if things would have been different. Not only does the stigma surrounding mental illness affect the way others see us, but it also affects the way we see ourselves. Self-stigma is a very real barrier that stops people from getting the help that they need. We often wonder, why am I so sad? Is this my fault? I shouldn't be feeling this way. And we place blame on ourselves when it isn't the right answer. I knew that something had to be done. I just wasn't sure where to start. From this, Break the Silence and the Stigma was born. Co-founder Stephanie and I were doing research at a local cafe one day when we came across a poster on the Canadian Mental Health Association website that said, "We often see people wearing t-shirts that read, 'I beat cancer.' But we don't often see people wearing t-shirts that read, 'I beat mental illness.'" This sparked something, and we realized that the best way to fight the stigma was to be forward about our struggles and recoveries. We have two main campaigns. Our photo campaign is called the I Define Me campaign. Labels can be very dangerous and limiting. One thing that we need to realize is that we have the power to redefine ourselves at every given moment of any given day. We want to empower young individuals to define themselves in one word, one sentence, in any way that they see fit in order to fight the stigma. Here we have Jeannie from Dalhousie and Julie, a student who recently lost her twin to suicide in 2014. We have done the I Define Me photo campaign at Dalhousie, Acadia, and Mount St. Vincent University. One of the things that is very beneficial of this campaign is that we can reach out to many students via social media platforms, and we can continue to spread the word this way. The second campaign is our T-shirt Day to End the Stigma. On this day, we hand out T-shirts on university campuses to students that read, "I live with mental illness, but it does not define me." This day serves several purposes. First, we get to bring the 1 in 5 statistics, now almost 1 in 4 statistics, to the ground. We can show individuals that anyone and everyone can live with mental illness. We ask students, faculty members, and professors to participate in this campaign in order to show students that anyone and everyone can be affected by mental illness. This helps us to create communities of peer support for the duration of the school year, because if a student sees somebody that's in their class wearing a t-shirt or a professor wearing a t-shirt, they know that this is a safe person to reach out to, and they feel as though there is a strong community of peer support around them. Because the system is still somewhat broken, it is important to support one another and to offer peer support. Many people wonder why we have decided to write, "I live with mental illness." We chose the wording very carefully after much discussion. "I suffer from mental illness" is not something that we feel is the right way to describe it. "I live with mental illness," however, is much more encompassing. You may live with mental illness personally. You may live with mental illness because your mother or father or daughter lives with mental illness. We decided to go with mental illness instead of mental health because of the large spectrum of mental illnesses and mental health. I don't think that it would be possible for just one person to define mental illness. There are so many different aspects, dimensions, and levels of mental health. Your brain, just like any other organ, can get sick. And it can get sick for a few days, for months, for years. It works the same. Many of us live with mental health issues. Some, but not all, specific diagnosable illnesses. Some of us live with mental illness because a close friend or loved one does. The point is that we are all in this same fight together, and we need to fight this epidemic of sadness and loneliness. We often underestimate the power of words, or the power of asking someone if they are okay. One of the first things I learned in suicide intervention training was that one of the most important things, to buy in a time of crisis is time. Time to give the person to choose life over death. Time to reignite their hope in life in the world. Sometimes all it takes to save someone's life is opening up to them and letting them know that someone, somewhere, understands them. I know for sure that peer support has saved me countless times. Mental illness, changes in mental health, and periods of mental instability can happen to anyone at any time. This is an issue that affects us all, and the only way for us to truly beat it is to come together and to understand one another, to allow each other to be real and to feel real things the way that human beings do. We are all affected by stigma, and we are all affected by this overwhelming desire to appear strong and to have everything together at all times. It's unrealistic, and it is costing us human lives. At first, I was afraid to share my own story for this event, and then I realized that this fear is exactly why we need this. If we fear the stigma associated with mental illness, then we are only feeding its power. Until we can openly talk about mental illness and mental health, we need to speak up and be heard. We need to be the voice for those who are unable to speak up just yet. We need to reevaluate the way we look at mental health because the system is not working. We are individuals. We are individuals living with schizophrenia. We are individuals living with anorexia. We are not schizophrenics. We are not anorexics. I invite you to take a stand against the stigma surrounding mental illness by talking openly and sharing your story. We want to empower you to share your stories and your strengths, which in turn will empower others to do the same. We believe that once we start to fully understand our individuality, we will be able to really find the cure in the right recovery paths for various individuals. We are all different. We all need different things. Some of us enjoy music. Some of us enjoy the outdoors. There's ecotherapy, music therapy, psychotherapy. There is no one quick fix, and that is something that we are trying to empower young people to look into, to understand yourself, to understand your peers, to understand what really will work for you. Here we have a few photos from our I Define Me campaign from various students who participated. Now, one of the things that we really like about this is that we can give students a voice, and they can reach out to other individuals who will see this and hopefully be inspired to share their own stories and to create new connections with individuals who they will continue to be able to support and be supported by. These are individuals from Halifax, from Mount St. Vincent University, Dalhousie University, and Acadia University. We hope that you will join us in the movement to end the stigma surrounding mental illness, one voice and one community and one place at a time. We believe that together we can save lives, and by speaking up, we can change the way people talk, see, and treat mental illness. The power really is in our hands, and your voice really does matter. From somebody who believed that I couldn't make a difference, I'm telling you that your voice does make a difference. Thank you very much.